I believe that marriage has been weaponized in Western Christianity. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are gonna do them, they're gonna look at you and wonder, why you not married?
Where your man at? Where your kids at?
What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. So recently, gospel legend Kirk Franklin, he went on Cam Newton's podcast and he did an interview. And in the interview, he made mention of a plethora of different things. But, his main point of conversation was talking about how the church weaponizes marriage and makes it seem as though there is something wrong with women who are of a certain age, who are not married, and who are childless.
I believe that marriage has been weaponized in Western Christianity. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are gonna do them, they're gonna look at you and wonder, why you not married?
Where your man at? Where your kids at?
One thing that I wanted to say is that in my personal opinion, okay, this is just my personal opinion. I want to hear you guys' opinions in the comment section down below as well. But I do not feel as though the quote unquote church is the one that weaponizes marriage to women. I think that if that were to 100% be true, then the church would not be full of single women.
The black church caters to the black woman.
There is so many, women's seminars, and there's so many singles ministries, and there's so many, all of these things within the church facilities that actually have no problem with women being single women, with women not having a marriage or a responsibility to being underneath the regime of a man. And if you want me to even go a step further, again, this is just my opinion, I'm just being honest. A lot of times it is actually more fruitful for churches when women are single, because a lot of times when women are actually in marriages or in relationships, being that they're being led by their husbands, they are not so dependent on the leadership of another man, and so they are not the best attendees. And it's a possibility that when it comes to giving or sowing certain seeds, that they are going to have to talk that over with their spouse. And again, women are the biggest consumers by themselves. A lot of times when a woman is even with her husband, okay, when it comes to certain purchases, after they have a certain conversation, maybe the amount that she was willing to spend or wanted to spend, she might not spend, because men are known to, more times than not, be more conservative financially than women are.
They also have a vested interest in her never getting married. Because if she finds a husband, she won't have as much time to be donating to the church home. Pastor is the metaphorical husband of all the single women in the community.
So again, in my personal opinion, I do believe that two things can be true at the same time, right? It can be true that in the culture, because I noticed that he said something about, if you go to a family reunion or you go to the cookout, that the women around will make certain statements.
For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion.
So I do believe that culturally we have certain ideas, but I don't think that it is even just these are all my opinion. I also don't believe that it's just targeted to just black culture, because if you look at society as a whole, different nations, different countries, different backgrounds, different religions, they all have a certain diagram in which women are supposed to be married and procreate and start a family. They all have that ideology. I think the only people who are so resistant to that ideology are women in the West.
Women don't need y'all.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no.
And that goes beyond culture, that goes beyond color, that goes beyond, all those things. I think that women in the West are just now in a space that they are apprehensive to tradition. And now to make people feel more comfortable, they're saying, oh, well, there is nothing wrong with you. And if you cannot get on a man's page, you don't have a problem. And
Like it's a prerequisite for identity and value. That if you don't have a man, if you don't have kids, that something about you is broken. Do you understand how dysfunctional these messages are?
now they're trying to make blanket statements in the other direction. Whereas I do understand, obviously, right, that not every woman who is single and childless means that there are, that she has problems. Maybe she's in a space that she doesn't know where to find a spouse. Maybe she is absolutely a wife, right? But it's just not again, in the surroundings of being able to find somebody to be in a relationship with. Maybe her picker is broken. Maybe she goes on dates and she has, her heart is full and she's not looking for the right signs. Maybe she is not, good or versed in dating. I think there's a lot of different reasons, but I can't say that 100% is true on either side. I can't say that all women who are single and childless are broken, and I definitely can't say that all women who are single and childless are absolutely fine and there's nothing wrong with them. Okay? I cannot say that either, because it is true that there's a strong possibility that something might be broken. And what's ironic to me is that if a woman meets a man who is of a certain age, who's never been married, or who does not have children, it's a common thing that women say, oh, something must be wrong with him.
Get somebody else to do it.
And again, this is, though women say that they don't want to be stepmothers, or though women say that they don't want to be in relationships with men who have children, if a man is in a certain age and he's never had children and he's never been married, a lot of women will give that man the side eye. So in the same, in the same space, I can completely understand why they do the same thing to women. Because a person who is coming into a relationship wants to know that you have the ability to be in a relationship, that you have experience in at least trying to, again, be submissive to a man, or trying to get on a man's page, or that you even just simply understand your counterpart. It matters. And again, we're not talking about if you're 18, 19, or, 20 and you've never been in a serious relationship because you're fresh out of high school and you're not, experienced in dating. That's a whole different story. But when you are more mature, when you're 30, 40 years old, and you've never had a serious relationship with a counterpart, or, you've never even been close to a certain space, especially when you want to be married, there's nothing wrong with asking questions on both sides to find out what the actual problem is, what the situation is.
I have many friends that were in ministry at church, and the church has told them, if you're going to be in ministry, you can't be single. We're not going to let you work with the youth ministry if you're single. You can't do this if you're single.
Back to the part of the conversation in which he talked about how he has some friends who were not allowed to be in certain leadership positions based on the fact that they were not married. I think that just goes for as a whole, right? You're not allowed to be a president, from my understanding, if you don't have, a spouse. Like, there's certain leadership positions that they want to see that unity between the two of you. And the reason why is because the foundation of a relationship represents, again, your ability to be a little bit more consistent, your ability to be able to problem solve cohesively together, your ability to work together. Like, what greater example, just like Kirk Franklin himself, right? He can talk about situations. He can talk about marriages. Kirk Franklin has been married for nearly 30 years. I think that a lot of times these conversations are really had to coddle women. And that's just me. I'm a woman, and I'm being really honest. I think that a lot of these conversations are had to coddle women. A lot of women make it seem like, oh, well, I'm not going to put my trust in no man, because at the end of the day, a man could just leave, or a man could just do this. A lot of women say these things because what they are, they're being apprehensive to the ability to actually grow. The ability to look into yourself and see your problems. A lot of the women who blame and put the fault on men and say, well, it's just going to be me. And I don't care. I'm single. I'm not broken. I don't have nothing to fix. I'm not the problem. I'm going to be sitting here waiting for my man. A lot of the people who do that are people who are unable to actually heal and go into them and work on the inner things of them truthfully. A lot of these women have come from toxic relationships and said that they've changed and have not been in a relationship to trigger them again to see if they actually have. A lot of it is comfort in the solitude, so that they don't have to feel certain emotions that are necessary for growth.
The one who comes next will take the responsibility off of you so you won't have to lead all the time. The one that comes next will take care of your children as if they are their own.
You want to look at ratios. There's probably depending on the size of the church, maybe 50 to 100 single women to one man, so it's more of the pressure, in my opinion, for the man. For the woman, it's protection for her to be single, and it's, again, to coddle her and make her feel comfortable.
And so what people do, they quickly get married, then crucify people when those same marriages
Fail.
If something is extremely toxic, it's detrimental to your health. You have to know when for your own good. And there's a lot of different reasons why people get divorced, and people can come back from different things. There's people who have come back from situations of abuse. There's people who have come back from being in marriages where the person suffered from addiction. There's so many different things. However, I think there should be balanced support in the situation, knowing when enough is enough, and not saying, oh, well, you're going to be messed up, or, basically God hates divorce and he's not going to love you. I think that's when logic has to come into play. Like, okay, this woman is in harm's way. This man is in harm's way. This don't make no sense. Maybe y'all need to take a break. Maybe you need to, come to therapy by yourself for a while. Maybe you need to come to counseling by yourself for a while. Maybe we need to work on you. So again, I think in that aspect, that's when I would say it would be weaponized. But I think that overall, again, culturally, not even culturally, I think universally, it's a thing where when people look at women, and again, they are at a certain age and stage in life and they've never had a serious relationship, nothing that even came close to marriage. They just date this person for a couple months, and then this person and this person and this person, but nothing that's withstanding, and they are, childless. I think if people look at them a certain way, in my personal opinion, again, I think that just how people will view both parties. I'll just say it again. If a man is single at a certain age, you have women say, what's wrong with him? Why he ain't got no kids? He's single and he ain't got no kids. What happened? That is just how people's brains are wired. And I also think that not everybody is marriage material. That's another conversation for a whole different day, but not everybody is supposed to be married. Okay, that's also a whole different conversation. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.